Greetings there, boyos. My weekly schedule got thrown off a bit as we got a good bit of snow here in Montana. And being the genius that I am, I have not put the winter tires on my car yet. So did not really feel like driving into town in my two-wheel drive car. So I decided I would do my log press day at home. Had to make a couple of exercise substitutions, but this seemed like the most appropriate session to put on this day. And it went pretty goddamn well. Now, I have log press in my upcoming show, so last week was my first time getting on a log as my overhead implement in quite some time. You can also tell I direly need a haircut. I'm rocking the Mr. Burns cut out here right now. Not only that, but I also owe Max a haircut today, now that I think about it, before he leaves for Las Vegas tomorrow. Now, on the log, I am working my way up using Viper presses here. For those not familiar, Viper press is where you don't have a pause up at the top of the clean. You just go straight into the press. So it's kind of one motioning the log. It is not a contested event, really, ever, but it is a technique that will be used in strongman when the weight is relatively light for the athlete to gain speed. So if it's for time or for reps in a minute and it's a light weight, you might see an athlete making use of a Viper press. So it's a technique more so than it is an event. And it's a technique I really like. I have a lot of fun doing Viper press. Also, I'm going to shut up for a second because you guys wanted to see a little bit more of like the pre-lift stuff, so I'll start making a habit of that. So that right there was my top single at 300 pounds. Honestly, it moved okay. Obviously, 300 pounds is not like a tremendously heavy weight for me to put overhead. I've strict pressed it for quite a few reps before. But I think for my second week of log press, I'm pretty pleased with that. I see a lot of easy room to improve. Then I moved on to a single clean and then a bit of a strict press away. Press away is a term used in strongman to describe a single clean and then maximum presses as opposed to doing every rep from the floor. I hate doing my strict presses on the log as a strongman with a relatively smaller frame, 5'10", not super wide across the shoulders. A 12-inch log, even in a reasonably front racked position, has me kind of more extended at the low and mid back as I generally like, right? Which kind of has some fatigue associated with it, but it is what it is. I also wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't forget to film a bunch of shit and the camera didn't die. Between some of those presses on the log, I was doing paused lat pull downs. This is the same thing I normally do in town, but I use the neutral grip when I'm in town. I got to order a neutral grip, like a mag grip, for when I'm training at home. I just like having the pull downs be paused because that mirrors kind of pulling the log into myself. And also I like to have it with a neutral grip again, so it just kind of mirrors the log. Then we moved on to high incline, where when I'm in town, I've been doing very high incline Smith press. Today I did the highest incline press I could do without hitting myself in the chin, which is slightly lower than what I've generally been doing on the Smith machine. Now, because I've been on a Smith machine, the weights aren't really 1-to-1, so I just decided to do 235 pounds here for a set of 12. Debated doing 2 work sets, but I elected to stay at the 1. Normally I do 2, but I didn't really want to risk tweaking anything with this random change in movement selection. Usually I like to build into my motions a bit more gradually. We'll see if I stay doing this session at home. This will be my kind of secondary pressing motion, and if not, I will get right back on my beloved Smith pressing. Then we had these chest-supported single-arm cable rows with a pause. I saw Graham Hicks doing these at some point because he's quite strong, I assume. He couldn't do like the bilateral version without the stack being like insufficiently heavy. I kind of have that problem on my cable machine at home. And this week, these are a bit of a stand-in for normally I would do like this chest-supported T-bar row with a pause. Again, using a neutral grip to mirror the log and a pause at the back to kind of mirror rowing the log into my sternum during the clean, which is something that I've always needed a little bit more work on. So kind of making those very small changes to my assistance work to closer mirror the functions that I'm trying to hit usually pays dividends. Now, normally I'd be doing this like kind of Smith machine tricep extension, that's overhead tricep extension that I've been liking, but couldn't really figure out how to improvise that here. So we just did 5 working sets of tricep rope as my tricep work for the day. Always isolate the triceps. It's my trademark. And then we finished up with 3 sets of rear delts because I love rear delts.